I would say there was a forcible adoption post the COVID period, and the pandemic definitely helped in the automation. But I believe that the liberalization of the drone rules in 2020 and 21 had a lot to do with a lot of investors as well as companies like Garuda Aerospace scaling up. We were also greatly benefited as a company as well as the industry when the Honorable Prime Minister launched 100 of Garuda's drones in 100 different locations. Traditionally, we have seen only drones being adopted in the B2G defense as well as large government departments using them. But we have started to see, especially in the last couple of years, consumers and private industries adopting drone-based technologies to increase efficiency and reduce expenses. When you take a look at the avenues for revenue, so to speak, you can broadly classify it into three: drone sales, like revenues that comes out of product sales; drone services, revenues that come out of any form of industrial, agricultural, consumer drone services that you provide to our customers; and the data monetization and how you are able to generate advisory services based on the data that is being collected by either a drone sale or a drone service. And I think that India has particularly been right now in a $3 to $4 billion market size in terms of drones as a services as well as the data aspect, because we have seen the massive adoption of drone services being utilized in agricultural spraying for pesticides and fertilizers. Farmers are currently spending 20 to 25,000 crores every single year to get their fields sprayed, and they're using inefficient manual spraying technologies, and now drone is disrupting that. So apart from that, you've seen in several events and photography and consumer segments and industrial services that drones are playing a major role. Traditionally, you would see that drone sales is considerably a smaller market compared to drone services. That entire market in 2021 was about 300 crores, and but that is now gradually increasing. And I believe that in 2023-24, the drone sales market alone would touch anywhere between 800 to 1,000 crores. And Garuda Aerospace will have a lion's share because we're already sitting on about 10,000 drones pre-booked for our agricultural Kisan drones that has been endorsed by Mahendra Singh Dhoni. And at the same time, we're also seeing progressive government policies like loan for drones and also 50% subsidies for these agricultural drones, which is driving that adoption. So I believe over the next year and a half to 2 years, the Indian drone ecosystem alone would be upwards of $3.5 billion, primarily contributed from drones as a services, especially in precision agriculture and the consumer demand. I think there is going to be a significant amount of cost reduction that will happen over the next 3 to 5 years. I don't see costs declining in the on the short term, especially in the next 6 months to maybe 2 to 3 years, primarily because the market is too huge and there are very few number of companies that can offer that at scale, at quality, and at a good price point as well. When you take the agricultural, the Garuda Kisan drone that we are selling and what we have pre-booked over 10,000 units for, we roughly sell it about 4 lakh rupees to our dealers and distributors. We have a pan-India channel network of over 700 dealers and distributors in 400 districts. They ultimately sell it to the end user, who is the rural entrepreneur, the custom hiring center, FPO, FPCs, or any form of service provider who will ultimately buy it from the dealer distributor and then provide services to the farmers, because the farmers are not the target market for our drones at all. It will be much like how not every farmer owns a tractor, not every farmer will own a drone. India has 90% of small and marginal farmers whose average landholding pattern is 1 to 1.5 acres. So they will not benefit from drone as a product. They will benefit from drones as a service. But what Garuda has done very well is in terms of introducing this Uberized gig economy network of rural entrepreneurs who buy our drones and provide these services. And I feel that when it comes to the consumer drone that we sell, the Dhoni drone, which we will be launching in the next 15 to 20 days, named after MS Dhoni, of course, we will be in the price point of about 75 to 80,000 rupees, 75,000 to our dealer distributors, about 80 to maybe 85,000 rupees to the consumers, and that is much lesser than what you can possibly get in terms of the current market scenario. And I believe that these two are going to be major drivers to our revenues, which we foresee will touch anywhere between 400 to 420 crores optimistically this year. I believe that it is going to be very critical for banks financial institutions, NBFCs, as well as the government, to ensure that both loans and subsidies for the drones, especially in the near future, are consistently provided and also ramped up, because I believe that that could be a major risk. But moving forward, I think that there is going to be an even bigger risk if we do not ride the wave and consistently keep innovating. If we are happy with our products as well as our services that we provide today, about 6 months to a year from now, I think that is definitely calling for caution as well as trouble. I see a lot of startups today, especially in the drone segment, very happy and also engaging in predatory pricing and lowering down costs, especially for drones as a services, on a very short-term, short-sighted approach. I believe that the market is very, very big for a lot of our players to flourish. And I think that government agencies and B2G businesses are riskier compared to B2B and B2C service segments that we are in currently. I think B2G, because of its large working capital divide, where you will probably not get paid for maybe 6 months, 7 months post, those are riskier businesses for early stage and growth stage startups to get in. I think the Honorable Prime Minister as well as the think tank in the government has realized that this particular sector could be as potential as the services industries was for India in the 80s and the 90s. And I think that is why there has been a lot of progressive government policies. I don't envision that to ever stopping in the near future. So I believe that in the next few years, provided that companies like Garuda getting a great, not just getting a great valuation, but also when we go public, adhering to all the great corporate governances, ensuring that we are staying profitable, not doing anything foolish like entering or diversifying into something else apart from our core businesses, and also staying true to ourselves. Today founders and CEOs can get very carried away in their own hype. I prefer not to do that, and I think that is something which all founders need to do in the drone industry to ensure that we realize what our limits are, but we also realize what our potential are. And if we do that, I'm sure that Indian drone industry will scale and become a crown jewel of India by 2030.